So you know I normally lean towards a proper audio solution when it comes to gaming, but wireless is one area where I still keep my feet firmly planted in the gaming audio arena because the convenience of that wireless headset, having that mic right there whenever you need it, is a lot to be said for that. We don't really get new wireless headsets all that often. When we do, it's usually a total crapshoot about where they're going to land in terms of price point and performance. So today we've got Logitech's new Pro X wireless LIGHTSPEED gaming headset. We're going to see how it stacks up in the market, especially versus a very popular one that's out there right now, the HyperX Cloud Flight S, and see if it's going to be worth the asking price. You ready? Let's go! Yo, I'm Brian P. You're watching BadSeed Tech, and today we're taking a look at the Pro X wireless LIGHTSPEED gaming headset from Logitech. Retailing for $199.99 US, what we basically have here is a wireless version of the Pro X headset that Logitech launched in July of last year. While I traditionally haven't been a big fan of Logitech's headphone offerings in the past, the Pro X got my attention based on the looks alone, and the build quality felt very premium for a product aimed at the gaming segment. And this headset is no different. It feels really well built, and with the mic attached, it weighs in right around 370 grams. I do like too that in moving from a wired headset to a wireless, which requires room for a battery, they don't look clunky at all. The ear cups are just a bit wider here to accommodate the internals. Big, thick metal frame on the forks, faux leather on the headband, generously padded. Outside of the cups themselves are a matte soft touch plastic. It's a great look, but unfortunately does show oil and fingerprints pretty bad. You've also got these metal medallions with the G logo that are textured with these little concentric rings. Ear pads are faux leather as well. Very comfortable padding here. Inside are marked L and R, and the internal dimensions are about 66 by 39 millimeters. They're not terribly deep either. My ears touch all over inside these things, including making contact with the liner over the driver itself. So that's something to look out for if you're sensitive to stuff like that. Also worth noting that I personally wear this thing at the max level of adjustment, but it does actually still fit, so the seal isn't compromised at all. I would say small to medium heads can feel totally confident in this. Larger heads, particularly guys with like Tory Lanez level foreheads, may want to be cautious. Controls are all on the outside of the left ear cup, and they're really straightforward. You've got a mic mute, a digital volume wheel that has a little drag to it, so it feels really quality. Power switches there as well, USB-C charging port, and a keyed location for the detachable mic. Also packaged in the box, you get a soft carry bag, alternate ear pads that look and feel like terry cloth, a rubberized USB-C to USB-A charging cable, and a larger than anticipated 2.4 gigahertz dongle. The process of removing and changing the ear pads is super easy too. There's just this little lip that the seam goes inside of, piece of cake. Wireless headsets typically come with at least one trade-off in exchange for wireless convenience. It's normally sound quality, but in the case of the most recent releases from Epos or Sennheiser, those also had interference, especially with anything using LIGHTSPEED. So like the G502 or the G Pro wireless mouse, both of those cause audio crackle. They did manage to improve this over time via firmware updates, but they never managed to solve it completely. As such, I just pretty much lost interest in those products over time. Luckily, that's not the case here. As I primarily game only with wireless mice outside of testing, I went to work with my main, the Viper Ultimate, and the G Pro wireless, and I'm happy to report I had no interference at all. None. It was rock solid. I'll be interested to test drive a full wireless system, so I've got a G915 on the way as well. It is supported by the G-Hub software, which handles a lot of features, including simulated surround sound courtesy of DTS Headphone X 2.0. I mostly play Modern Warfare, and I know it aggravates people when I widely denounce simulated surround sound tech, but it just doesn't do anything for me at all in-game. Even making sure I set the audio settings to home theater, it just felt really claustrophobic and weird, and it left me in a position where I really couldn't judge direction or distance. This was punctuated even more by the fact that this headphone in 2.0 stereo mode does an outstanding job of presenting both direction and distance. Seriously, in-game, it is top-notch when it comes to enemy detection. Definitely plenty of times when somebody walked right into a trap like I had wall hacked. The audio presentation in-game is very balanced as well. Gunshots punch, you can feel explosions in the sub-bass, but they don't muddy the mix at all. After hours of playtesting, I never picked up on anything that took me out of the experience or compromised my ability to hear footsteps, reloads, etc. It's really rare to find a headset that conveys the energy and the scale of a game and doesn't compromise the little details. Even in music listening, you've got these 50mm drivers here, and while this isn't an audiophile solution, this is going to be a very balanced, perfectly acceptable way for the majority of gamers to be able to listen to some music wirelessly without taking a big hit to audio quality. And while they don't have any form of ANC at all, the ear cups, particularly the leatherette ones, do a really good job of passive noise cancellation. So as far as the mic goes, despite being wireless, it's still capable as a gaming mic. I'm not sure I would run a stream or record anything of any great importance with this. You are listening to this in default mode right now. This is straight hardware, no software processing. There was some disappointment around last year's release that Blue's role in the mic was limited to the software and not the physical hardware like the capsule itself. And that is still the case here. That said, the mic still sounds adequate for a gaming mic. It is unidirectional too, so it does a pretty decent job of filtering out background noise. But the real magic is when you activate Blue Voice. The Blue Voice software not only adds a lot of character to the mic, but it allows you to set up presets, as well as use presets created by some big names in the industry, though I'm not sure what the selling point is there, as it's not going to make you sound like a specific person, and everyone's voice is so unique that it really pays to have your own settings. Luckily, you do. In abundance. The amount of vocal tweaking you can do here in terms of EQ, filtering, de-essing, compression, etc. is pretty crazy. I find the most natural warm vocal to be running high pass on, expander on, limiter on, deactivate the de-esser, the compressor, and the noise reduction. The only miss for me with the mic is that I wish it had a mute LED on the end like you see on the Cloud Flight S, though I'm not a fan at all of how you actually mute the mic on the Cloud Flight S by pushing into the side of your head. So after running down the list of recent wireless headset releases, I automatically exclude the Sennheisers, both on the interference, which is totally unacceptable, and to a lesser extent because they're just damn ugly. I like both the sound and the comfort here better than I did on the Corsair Virtuoso, and these sound better than pretty much any offering I've ever heard from SteelSeries, including my very expensive Arctis Pro Wireless, and Razer doesn't really have a dog in this fight. So for me, it comes down to the Cloud Flight S, which comes in a full $40 cheaper. It's got 30 hours of battery versus 20 hours on the Logitech. It supports Qi charging. It's really comfortable, though the build doesn't feel as good in hand. The mic is notably subpar, and the audio, while very close, I actually have to give it to the Logitech. The Logitech is also absent of any way to rotate the cup, so it's not as comfortable worn around the neck, and the Cloud Flight S is able to accommodate larger sized heads than the Pro X Wireless. I'm not a huge fan of the control ergonomics on the Cloud Flight S, and while both units support functional side tone, the Pro X sounds better, but lacks chat mix, which is present on the Flight S. Despite the price difference, it's a real slugfest. Neither has any issue with any kind of interference or range issues. I had these plugged in on the third floor in the studio. I was standing down front in my front yard, and both still worked flawlessly. I would have actually had to get in the car and drive away from my home to see which one gave up first. The Flight uses micro USB, the Pro X uses USB-C. Neither has support for aux cables, neither supports Bluetooth. Whew. That probably could have been its own comparison video, but I think the Logitech wins for build quality, mic quality, and tweaking, sound quality both in-game and for music listening. Like the Flight has more bass, but it's not as clean at all, and it actually does get in the way of audio cues sometimes in-game. Even at $40 more, if it was my money, I would definitely go with the Logitech, and unless you have a truly massive head, I feel very comfortable in recommending these. It's been a really long time since I've had a wireless gaming headset that lived at my gaming desk full-time, but that's where these live now. As always, links down in the description for everything we talked about today. Any questions, hit me in the comments or drop by the Discord. And that's it for this time. I'm Brian P. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and until next time, stay up.